I'm Anne Woollett, and I'm curator of paintings here at the J. Paul Getty Museum. And we're standing in the East Pavilion in our largest gallery dedicated to Dutch 17th century painting. I'm thrilled to be here because I'm able to talk with you about one of my most favorite paintings in the collection, one I spend a lot of time looking at. It's by the artist Jan Steen. It's called The Drawing Lesson. It's an interior view of an artist in his studio with two pupils. In the center of the room, we see a low table, and the figure leaning over in the center is the artist. To his right, we see a young boy seated in a very fancy chair with a little lectern in front of him, and also a very beautifully dressed young woman. We can see here this white sculpture on the table is in fact a plaster cast of a well-known Renaissance sculpture by Alessandro Vittoria of St. Sebastian. So they're looking at an ideal figure, and they're learning to draw, and he is correcting their efforts. And this draws attention to one of the things that I think is really interesting about the scene is the way that the light is entering this space. It was super important for artists to have the right light, and we feel that just streaming through into this scene, catching the reflective qualities of these beautiful silky, satiny fabrics that they're wearing, filtering through the sides and the openings on the stretch painting in the foreground, and then ending up over here illuminating this still life in the lower right corner. He's really showing off his technical skills, and he's using his preferred palette. So he really is known for these pinky purples, sort of juxtaposed with the yellow of the young woman's skirt. She seems to be a fairly well-to-do young woman. This figure has really raised a lot of questions. She could, in fact, be a personification of the art of painting. So that was always a female figure who embodied the art of creation, of innovation, of nobility of this profession of painting. But also, she could be a young woman who's simply learning to draw and to paint as part of the education of a well-born person. I think here Steen is showing us something about the nobility of the art of painting, but also the importance of the perpetuation of that art and how the artist's trained abilities are then continued through the next generation. I think it's relevant here that we see very young people learning to paint. These are not just assistants that were often part of a studio process, but young children who are learning these manual and technical abilities at a young age. One of the things I really love about this painting is the way that it just takes us to another time and place. I feel like I've entered someone else's world. I have a chance to take a quiet look at sort of how a lot of the paintings that I work on and enjoy seeing every day are made. It also just gives me great joy to see how fabulously and expressively Steen has rendered all of the different special details in the painting.